Game on, ladies! We have a Nightelf versus Undead today, and all the way up on the top left, we're actually looking at our Nightelf in blue, ToXiGRiNTA, playing against the frog down to the bottom of the map here. Yep, MadFrog, our Undead player in the game once again. Like, I mentioned it in one of the recent games, that actually these days he likes to play with a very heavy expansion style, dropping an early Necropolis into his build order as well. We're actually seeing towards the top right currently a little move straight into our first Ancient of War, a little bit forward to one of the mercenary camps, which allows a Nightelf player pretty much to just simply go for one archer and then start creeping with the Ancient of War, plus getting the hero out a little bit later, getting a quick and early level up for himself. So that's what we might see in this one as well. Down to the bottom of the map, on the other hand, the question with the frog is, what are we going to actually see in terms of the heroes here for him? Started to actually experiment a little bit more with the first heroes that he dropped just recently. See a lot more Dreadlord for him. Actually seen him also with a bit of a phase where he was trying to empower his gargoyle pushes with alchemists, for example. So there is a chance that we're going to get one of those games today with the ghoul already heading into the middle. There's definitely an opportunity, but it is a Death Knight opening. So as I mentioned, MadFrog loves to play with gargoyles and really just harass the shit out of any Nightelf player. Honestly, doesn't have to be a Nightelf, anybody that he goes up against. And with the Death Knight, you obviously get a couple of advantages, since you have an opportunity to just simply, just run a little bit faster around your opponent. The aura gives you a speed buff, which is nice. You get the death call as well. But there's also a couple of arguments to be made in favor of a good acid bomb and an alchemist. There's a couple of other variations that we've just seen recently too. So in this case, we are having still from our red player the one archer attack, or the one archer creeping here. And that's exactly what he's trying to pull off here, but the hero's already out and we are seeing him grooving again. Keeper of the Grove is coming in and grooving around, especially with Entangle on level 1, threatening the life of the first ghoul. And that one is dead within seconds, so nicely done. Quite important here, by the way, for all of you that are a little bit more new to Warcraft 3, that you kill those creeps with a hero or with minions, not with the Ancient of War, or you're not going to get any experience for that particular creep, and you want to get all of that EXP as quickly as you can. We're actually having a Circlet of Mobility dropping as the first item for the Keeper. Ooh. Yeah, and another Wisp that went a little bit too close to the flame. As it drops the aggro, and the AoE is starting to drop some damage in. But yeah, with all of the creeping going on at the top, we're actually seeing down at the bottom of the map a Sacrificial Skull in the inventory of the Death Knight. As you can see here in the main base, we actually have a little bit more of a normal setup, not that early Necropolis that we sometimes have. In this case, Death Knight comes in, and MadFrog is gonna go for an expansion again. That's something that a lot of Undead players are starting to do a lot more against in various matchups, trying to get earlier expansions than previously, whereas the standard build so far was just always trying to stay on a low upkeep for as long as possible, and then after amassing a huge amount of resources, just pumping out of several moves or going for a very fast tech, a couple of variations available. But right now we're having the Death Knight with the Crystal Ball, so a little bit more vision for MadFrog, and a level 2 on the Death Knight too. And no scout at the bottom of the map. I mean, if you look at the map right now, we have one Wisp just hanging around up to the right side of the map, but not scouted the expansion just yet. We're talking about potential expansions. We actually have ToXiGRiNTA looking at an expansion now for himself, going straight in for the gold mine here. And if you look a little bit farther to the left, the Tree of Life has been put into place already. Now, with the first Ziggurat being completed at the bottom of the map, that means that MadFrog has now an easy access also to make sure that he has a bit of a defense sitting there. His Skeleton Warrior is already scouting out not only the creep attempt of his opponent, but also the Tree of Life in and of itself. That's a pretty decent start for him. Nearly level 3 by now for the DK, since he started to creep a little bit more. And for now, we still have that ghoul focus for him, but I would actually be shocked if we don't see a couple of crypts popping up and him switching into others eventually. A little oversupply trick here from the Nightelf player. So starts a building, produces an additional unit, and while that's in queue, he just cancels the building and gets the Wisp back, so he is sitting at oversupply. So a small move that he can make with the Nightelf in order to get that done. Well, with this also said, we are also having the scout coming through. That's obviously something that the the orb that the crystal ball that we're getting from him makes possible. But by now, Dagda, the keeper, is getting a little bit more creeping done on his side. So both of the players not really too aggressive in the early game. The idea is pretty much the same. Yeah, getting expansion, start your tech up, creep a little bit on your side of the rivers here, and get as much going as possible. But there's still a bit of a lack of scouting that we are seeing from the Nightelf player. Doesn't really feel the need for that. Now he has a few wisps on the map, but he hasn't really scouted out what's going on here on the other side. And in the meantime, aggro already called by MadFrog with a coil. Lightning shield get cast on the Death Knight. The problem is that the ghouls actually blocked him here a little bit, so quite a bit of damage onto the melee units on the ground before the Death Knight finally makes it into the back of the creeps, so that he has a chance of getting the damage onto them. Cloak of Shadows gets dropped, and the experience is also pushing him onto level 3. Oh, and that's a sexy one. That's a really sexy one right now. If you have a Potion of Greater Mana, that can be absolutely fantastic for you in the long run. So definitely a huge asset right now for MadFrog. When it comes to supply numbers, it's 38 against 31, and MadFrog has a fair amount of ghouls already on the ground, which he can use now. That's something that the Wisp has already spotted, though. Seems like there's a bit of an attempt to maybe even get a second hero in. And the coil! Actually, no detonate. ToXiGRiNTA not really paying attention to the Wisp enough, or he would have detonated the Wisp in order to deny the experience to MadFrog. Robe of the Magi is also sitting around. And up to the top we have even more creeping, trying to steal the camp away. Nightelf is none the wiser at this point in time. Obviously there's a couple of additional units coming through, especially on a mercenary camp map. You want to get that Forest Troll Shadow Priest so that you can actually deal with your opponent's entangle. Scroll of the Beast, nice item again. Problem is that the Death Knight is actually absolutely full. Alright, drops another Rod of Necromancy. And actually has to drop it because it was in cooldown, but gets the scroll at least, so that doesn't get stolen away. Second hero is in. It's Panda time once again, as Chen grabs the keg and joins the fight here. Breath of Fire coming in, and MadFrog is fighting this out as much as he can. One unit after another. Scroll of Beast already getting used. One coil hits the archers. He's getting that set up, but that also offers another inventory slot that could help him to drop a few of the items there. Goes even... Ooh, that is a nice move again with the level 2 coil onto the Panda. That could have even been a kill. Doesn't even make a play here for the keeper, but that heavy attack is costing him also quite a lot. I mean, he's lost pretty much every single ghoul that he has here, but thanks to the mercenaries that he got early and the Scroll of the Beast, he was also able to take a huge amount of archers out here. Level 4 on the Death Knight by now, and the Robe of the Magi gets dropped by the keeper, and he just steals it away. Thought process of the Nightelf obviously is to reduce the mana pool and therefore just heal up on those Moonwells and then grab the item again, but that time it did not work out for him whatsoever, and therefore the Death Knight just goes in, grabs the item, steals it away quite easily. Even can go for a few more over here to the top. Drops one rod, but the two items are there. I don't even know that I don't even think the Nightelf knows about those, to be honest. He probably expects they have already been taken, but damn, that was quite the setup. You gotta give it to ToXiGRiNTA on the other hand. He was still able to get a lot of units killed here. Alright, there's one coil. Death Knight gets attacked. Could probably go for the Greater Mana Potion here and try and drop that Keeper completely. Should have the cooldown ready again. Tries to use the Cloak of Shadows. That didn't help. And it seems like he's going to fall here. He doesn't kill the Death Knight. Sorry, the Keeper. I think he had a chance to kill the Keeper here, but that comes a bit too late. Still the attempt to do it by getting a Mud Golem and also another Orgrim Mauler, but the Keeper's still on the run. Dryan's joining the fun now too, and he can't even get that. Oh my god, MadFrog losing big time here. Initially, the attack was not a bad one, but now he lost all of his ghouls, he lost a lot of the mercenaries that he bought, and even the Death Knight bites the dust with the Keeper, therefore nearly heading level 5, and the Pandaren Brewmaster on level 3 nearly. Gets level 3 as the Orgrim Mauler falls. Yeah, that turned quickly. Definitely a few mistakes made there by MadFrog, as he now adds 3 crypts. Going straight into that gargoyle style that we talked about earlier, still staying on tier 2 now with the Halls of the Dead. But that was pretty incredible here. I mean, MadFrog with mad resources too, since he obviously wants to produce from 5 crypts. Quintuple crypts right now. So he's getting rid of that, all that gold and all that lumber very, very quickly. And builds a big army now too. But that last fight was definitely not what he had envisioned. I honestly think if he sacrifices the Potion of Greater Mana, he can take at least the Keeper down and make it an even trade in heroes. But that did not work out for him. And then also on top of that, buying a few additional mercenaries just to kill the Keeper, not getting that kill, and then losing those two, giving even more experience over to his opponent, is of course a problem. Panda by now, Scourge Bone Chimes, without Druids of the Claw, that's not going to do him any good here. But we're having in the inventory for our Night Elf now also a Scroll of Healing. And yeah, with another Tree of Life already being built, looks pretty much like we are going to see a little bit of a move for a second expansion all the way up to the top right. That Panda is going to be a big problem for MadFrog too. Keep on level 4, nearly level 5. Gargoyles are coming in. And Goblins! Yep, it is Sapper time. One Goblin Sapper coming in, but getting taken down, and Jesus. Oh, what? No, okay, there we go. For a second I thought he might be able to actually save both of them. For some reason the Dryads never leave landing the final hit here on the Gargoyle, but the Breath of Fire eliminates both. Yeah, and MadFrog is pretty much getting beaten down right now. This is a big problem. I mean, in the main base there's obviously a Tree of Eternity, we have a Shredder, double Ancient of Lore, Chimera Roost is now getting produced too. The expansion over here scouted out, but still, this is trouble for the Frog. The Undead player has a huge problem on his hands, especially with the Keeper nearly hitting level 5 now, and that Panda also closing in on level 4. So at this point in time, you look towards the main base, there's still tier 2. We're seeing at least a Lich coming in, and a few additional Gargoyles are now being produced as well. 2 attack upgrades, that's at least something. But he won't be able to get the kill against the Tree of Life here. So MadFrog with a lot of mistakes that he now has to make up for somehow. Dryad gets at least sniped, so it's not like ToXiGRiNTA doesn't make any arrows either. And one of the big ones was underestimating this attack here. That's going to be the end of the tree. The Tree of Life actually goes down. And we're also seeing another Gargoyle eliminated. Yeah, definitely a couple of mistakes here on both sides, but that kind of makes the game intense at this point, I'd say. 50 supply currently for ToXiGRiNTA, and we're having also 50 for MadFrog, so both of them staying in the no upkeep. And especially when it comes to lumber, there is no problem for the Night Elf whatsoever. I mean, that guy is currently sitting at an easy 1,700. Goblin Shredder makes it possible. But very annoying for the Night Elf that he just lost the tree without even really fighting for him. I honestly think he underestimated the attack power that we saw from the Undead there. He never really made the move way too late. Ooh. Now we're actually getting, in addition to the Potion of Greater Mana, the Health Stone against an Entangled Keeper. Not really the worst item to get. It's another one that can really help him to keep the Death Knight alive. Another scout coming through, and this time he actually scouts out what's happening up here at the top. And we're having the first Hippogriffs now coming in as well. 1 attack upgrade for them at this point. And he's going to get enough experience here. Yeah, level 5 Keeper, level 4 Panda. Just look at those items. 1 of Mana Stealing and the Potion of Mana. Not too shabby, my friend. He's going to be a menace for that Gargoyle army that MadFrog is currently building up. Halls of the Dead then again. Being teched now. I can't get past those 5 crypts that we're seeing now. He's really going all out on this, isn't he? But even more creeping going on the left side, with especially the Lich, of course, being a bit of a focus here. But he only has him on level 2. That Robe of the Magi that he stole away earlier is now serving the Lich well. Obviously, 6 additional attack damage on the auto attacks for him, and a pretty big mana pool to boot. With the healing wards now found, we're actually seeing him heal up the army. And they're getting the attack in against the Shredder. Honestly, with 1,700 lumber right now, that's not going to hurt him anytime soon. But still, 55 supply against 66. MadFrog has a little bit more here. Is moving straight into the base again. Oh, gets the Zapper in again. And tries to take 2 of the Moonwells down and does exactly that. So he supply blocks his opponent. And is still dancing around him. Oh, the surround again against the Death Knight. Yeah, and he plays around with a Cloak of Shadows. But do we have a scout here at any point? Yeah, there's already the Panda and Brewmaster moving up to the top. And he gets another coil through. But there it is. The Dust of Appearance coming in, and you won't be able to take this one down before the Death Knight drops the bucket. Nope, that is it. Death Knight is dead again. Holy shit. MadFrog is really suffering. I mean, that Keeper already paid off. Paid off his weight in gold. I mean, seriously, that's the second kill now against the Death Knight, thanks to an initial ensnare and then a turnaround here, or an entangle. Very well done. Death Knight immediately being rebought, by the way. Like, without a moment's hesitation, he just dropped the gold and said, okay, I have to go for this now. MadFrog is still sitting at roughly 500 gold, 70 supply for him, and a bit of scout at the top. And there's another Tree of Life coming in. And, yep, that's another problem. There's a scout coming through, sees the Tree of Life, starts immediately attacking it. And there it is, obviously. Ooh, no town portal. Is that a Staff of Teleportation being used? Okay, doesn't sacrifice anything here. Has the rest of the army coming in, though. At the bottom of the map, the Black Citadel tech is nearly done. Still only 2 attack upgrades for the hero right here. And with this, what else are we gonna get? So, nearly level 5. That Panda is spelling trouble for him. Has also in the inventory now a potion of healing just to be on the safe side. Once that we are seeing that Lich on level 3, it can be quite nasty with the Nova and the Death Coil coming in. Obviously, the Nova alone with the slow is already just an incredible feat, especially if you're having a Gargoyle army that you can always go in for a quick burst damage and focus fire. Lich at this point, yeah, gets actually the Wand of Illusion immediately used so that he can have a bit of a look what's happening there. Needs to find out what's going on all the way up at the top, especially with the Chimera Roost being added early on. The expansion, of course, is now also being put in place. And that puts a timer onto the attack for MadFrog, because he can't really let the Night Elf player having 3 mining bases for too long. And the upgrade should also be a slight concern for MadFrog. The Swede at this point is at a deficit when it comes to, well, first of all, hero levels, but also when we're talking about upgrades. 2-1 on the Dryads right now, and therefore also for the Hippogriffs. Yeah, those guys are still just checking out what's happening there. But MadFrog has now a pretty big army in Gargoyles. And that is really where the dance usually starts. And the advantage, obviously, is that you can just run around your opponent and try and snipe units all the time. Can be a very annoying style. The question is always, what do you do in order to counter that, especially at your expansion? Do you drop a couple of Ancient Protectors? Is that something that you would do? A lot of players will still drop, I mean, for example, Staff of Teleportation into the hands of some of their heroes. I could totally see that Pandaren Brewmaster eventually getting the Staff of Teleportation instead of the Keeper. Seems like really advantageous, and there's exactly that arrest that I just talked about. Yeah, so the repair is already there, and the Panda has now to move in. He's going to try and take that down, but at least he was able to kill 1 Wisp. But this is exactly that particular style, and MadFrog is just going to be a nuisance from here on out. 84 supply for the Night Elf and 80 for MadFrog, so he's in the low upkeep, but he doesn't really dare to go into the high upkeep, as does the Night Elf player. But with 3 mining gold mines, he still has a bit of a leg up when it comes to the income. Yeah, 2 attack upgrades still, and here comes again. The big attack is just playing around the Panda. That's all that he does at this point. And I'm really surprised that he didn't give the Staff of Teleportation over to the Panda. That would in the long run help him a lot to keep up with those movements of the Undead army. And obviously, as an Undead player, you can really pin down your opponent. If he's forcing the fight eventually, then you might be in a great position, because obviously the Pandaren Brewmaster can do a lot once that he gets the AoE damage out. But MadFrog will try and counter that with Scrolls of Healing, and he holds 2 already. And just look at this. This isn't looking too great either. He actually abandons the gold mine for now. Has nothing there. Has absolutely nothing there. And I'm coming back to that Staff of Teleportation. And MadFrog is just looking at this and saying, like, wait a second, free base? Hell yeah, I'm gonna take that. Goes for the Tree of Life, and it just seems like we're seeing ToXiGRiNTA looking at this and exclaiming, you know what? Screw that base. Screw that expansion. I'm gonna go for the attack. I have the bigger army now. I have better upgrades than you. I'm gonna force that fight, and I dare you to try and take it. But I'm not quite sure if that was really the move to make here. Giving the Staff of Teleportation over to the Panda would have really helped him quite a lot, and then he could have maybe just kept the Panda here and eventually portaled to the army if need be. But right now, MadFrog is taking full advantage of this. He took the base down already, the expansion. Now he's aiming for the production structures of his opponent, and this is looking fantastic for MadFrog. Down here, on the other hand, of course, there's a big attack happening against the expansion, and MadFrog is suffering a lot of losses too. All of those acolytes are already being pulled back. There's a couple, or dead. There's a couple of gargoyles moving in from the side, but he can't really fight that too quickly. But that's a nice move, but obviously the Night Elf has to take this now. He just lost an expansion. He still has 1 mining at the top right, and he scouted the bottom left, so he knows that MadFrog is only relying on this one. And as long as MadFrog isn't mining here, that's not going to be a problem for him, since he still has that base up to the top, and this is what he banks his hopes on. He needs that fight. But there's already the softening up of the target. Obviously, the Panda and Brewmaster is the biggest obstacle in the way to MadFrog's potential victory. And therefore, the Panda is getting focused by the Lich and Death Knight. Once again, the Roar on the Coil and Nova. Panda and Brewmaster has to be portaled out, and immediately MadFrog is attacking. That's the biggest tool against him, and immediately the Keeper is using the Town Portal to get out of harm's way, and he has to. I mean, without the Panda, you just have no chance there. And he needs to keep the Panda a little bit farther back because MadFrog has obviously identified this. Another move could also be to just simply move in, get rid of the Dust of Appearance, for example, make sure that you're getting a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. But look at the inventory right now. There's the Staff of Teleportation. So finally we have that passed over to the Panda. He's rebuilding the Ancient of Wind here, both of them. And MadFrog is going straight into the shop to get a couple of additional items. Scroll of Protection. Scroll of Lesser Invulnerability. Still the double check at the expansion to make sure that nothing is happening over here. 87 supply by now for MadFrog. And we're having at the same time 76 for ToXiGRiNTA. The game is going to be decided largely by the Panda. And he is hoping for level 5, of course. And the expansion all the way at the top is getting attacked now too. 1,000 gold on the side of the Night Elf player. Here comes the attack again as he's trying to move in. Yep. The entire army is moving through. Gets at least a couple of connects with the Dryads here. So slows down 2 of the Gargoyles and might help him to at least get something done. Yeah, not quite happening that way. 76 supply though. 3 attack upgrades. This looks like he's at least going to get one of the Gargoyles. And that's exactly the case. But a Nova is already coming through. MadFrog is just playing a game of chicken right now. Running away, hit and run the entire time. Oh, and the Tree of Eternity! Unrooted, heavy armor. That's an easy snipe. It's a massive Gargoyle army. Just darkening the skies here at an Elise elimination. Fight nearly happening again. MadFrog tries to get another Nova through. Is actually put into a little bit of a corner here and trying to rush around it. Will most likely lose a few of the Gargoyles here if he doesn't pay attention. But the Panda can't really connect it. MadFrog is able to walk away from this. Had to drop the Potion of Invulnerability though. Yeah, he learned his lesson. 2 times dying against the Keeper of the Groove earlier. Yeah, you don't want to run into that entangle again. You want to make sure that that doesn't happen. Definitely a bit of a scrappy game. I'm not gonna lie to you. That game was definitely a bit scrappy up to this point. But still, that kind of makes it a bit exciting too. And guys, that expansion is attacked again. And it is Panda time. Panda coming in. First Breath of Fire. And MadFrog doesn't give a shit. Just simply eats the damage and says, what you gonna do? I'm gonna get that base now. And indeed he does. No mining for the Frog. No mining for his Night Elf opponent. But there's level 5 for the Panda. Finally he has it. Finally has level 5 on the Panda. And is trying to go for it again. Ooh, the Lich is a little bit far out here. There's an attack attempt. MadFrog is playing Ring Around the Rosie the entire time. Upgrades for him, 2-0 still. Put in the corner, needs to be careful, takes the fight with the Scroll of Protection and immediately starts to move in here. And that's a good fight for him. Panda needs the Mana Potion and uses it immediately, but the level up on the side of the Lich is obviously going to help out MadFrog quite a bit now too. Still has the Healing Wards in the inventory and uses him. ToXiGRiNTA on 53 supply against MadFrog. 61 right now, the Gargoyles rushing through the Hippogriffs. Level 6 on the Keeper, Tranquility used, but the Panda is down. The Death Knight on level 6, and he actually at this point goes for the Reanimated Dead and goes for the Dryads. Dryads are in, the army down 36 supply against 43. Both of them still incredibly low in army supply, but guess who's back to business? It's the Panda. Marsha Stormstout is back in. Never even used a single charge of the Wand of Mana Stealing here, by the way. Not a single one. Tree of Life is now being built. He's still not out of this game yet, and he knows it too. 44 supply for MadFrog. 39 for the Night Elf player. And the Panda is back on level 5.5. Lich low. Nearly level 5 though. And we still have down here at least a gold mine in. The problem is that MadFrog is currently not building any additional acolytes over here. He has one left though and starts mining slowly, sends another one over too. The Goblin Shredder is apparently out of wood and out of a job right now. Not that he needs any. 3,400 lumber is going to be more than enough for the rest of the game here. But we're looking at another game where we're pretty much relying on the high level heroes at the end of the game. That's pretty much what's going on here. Towards the top, nothing happening. Over here, still a gold mine in play. And guess what? There comes that potential Tree of Life. Scouting is going on both sides right now. Obviously, ToXiGRiNTA needs to make sure that there is no additional base at the bottom of the left there either. And with the treants that he just summons over this little river, he can make sure that there's not a lot of mining going on either. Problem is that those guys dying put the Lich now on level 5. Yeah, easy treant experience. And all of a sudden we have level 5 for the Lich. That's a level 3 Nova. Level 6 still on that Death Knight. There's still a Nightelf army to be considered. 49 supply against 45. In terms of items, 1 potion of healing, still the Wand of Mana stealing, which could play a vital role here in this fight. But there's the first coil already, there's the Entangle, and there's the fight, trying to force it. Nova is hitting the Keeper regardless, has the potion of healing in the inventory, but needs to be careful, of course. There's the second setup, Death Knight in trouble again, and he has no Death Pact. Coil once more, Tranquility, maybe a little bit too late, Death Knight in trouble. The Gargoyles are moving away here, but the Death Knight still survives, and the Coil Nova plus the Lich drop their Keeper. The Death Knight, on the other hand, also falls. Level 6 for the Pandaren Brewmaster right now. And immediately MadFrog moving into the middle. Takes down, nice move of the Stone Form here. Takes down the Hippogriffs. Lich on level 5.5. MadFrog is trying to get enough money at this point. In the main base, at the expansion. I think he actually needs to unsummon something here. He's currently waiting for it. He wants to reanimate, obviously, the Death Knight, but I'm not quite sure if he can actually pull it off in the main base in the meantime. There's not even an Acolyte that could unsummon anything. The Acolytes are coming in, though, as we're having the rest of the Night Elf army starting to really wreck everything they can. Acolytes are dying all over the place. 2 are still left, and he's starting to move in, still sitting in the middle here. Can't do anything about it. At the same time, the Gargoyles are at least attacking the expansion, and there's very little that ToXiGRiNTA can do about that. He has the Staff of Teleportation in the inventory, but he wants to apply the pressure still. Crypts are currently getting unsummoned here, as he's trying to get enough resources to at least get the Death Knight back to business. But down here, the expansion is falling. The only question, there it is. Staff of Teleportation finally being used and chasing the Gargoyles away. Mining is still on, but the Death Knight is back to board at the tavern. Has the potion, the Greater Mana potion that he didn't use earlier. He uses it now, and he gets the Coil Nova against the Panda, and that might be the kill. He's trying to go for it, trying to go for the Gargoyles around, but he doesn't connect it. And the Panda moves to the Moonwell, survives, eats another coil, eats another Nova. Keeper's being revived too. Moonwell after Moonwell is empty, and there's just no way. Finally, another charge. The first one of the Wand of Mana stealing is getting used, but the Panda is down. The Panda is dead. But now the chase. Level 7 Death Knight. He goes for the Lich. But there's still the Death Knight with enough mana to get the coil through. Obviously, we're still having a couple of resources here for the Night Elf, so there's a chance that he gets the Panda at the tavern. Level 6 for the Lich by now, and that could even mean death and decay at this point, but the fight is not quite over yet. 34 supply against 26, still kind of close, and only one of these bad boys still has an expansion. No mining down at the bottom of the map. At least the gold mine was taken out. That was a huge step, actually, for MadFrog, as he's still trying to chase the army. A lot of the Gargoyles are incredibly low, though, as they're making the move for the Druid of the Claw, and this one's down. He needed to kill that, especially if the rejuvenation comes through. That's an issue. And the attack against the Altar of Elders, but we have the Keeper nearly back, and by now also the trains are moving in. Ents everywhere as they are trying to defend the Altar of Elders. Wisps coming in, starting to detonate, trying to at least. In comes the Keeper. Lich is still there. Another Entangle. Oh, and this could be the end of the Death Knight again. The Death Knight is low, but the focus on the Keeper, and this has to be game. I mean, it just has to be. Keeper down, the Death Knight survives, and this is not looking pretty for ToXiGRiNTA. He loses way too much here, and this just has to be it. 5 supply is all that's left for him, and that's in unit and not in heroes. Yep, that Death Knight on level 7 is going to survive through all of this, and it seems like MadFrog has pulled it off. Scrappy game, to say the least, but this is looking strong. Over here, another desperate attempt to get some gold going, but let's face it, Not happening anytime soon. Could actually buy one of his heroes, but now the Dryad falls. Sends even some trees towards the tavern here. That's not gonna help him either, I believe. Especially with the expansion already getting attacked. I think this is finally lights out for him. Has only 2 supply left, and that's obviously Wisp supply. And there's the death and decay being used too. This base is about to go down. The panda is back, starting to use the staff of teleportation here. Goes straight up to the Moonwells, but I think this is going to be it for him. He's fighting tooth and nail for every single inch of the map, but at some point it's over. And I think with a Tree of Life taken down, this is pretty much it. Here comes the triple panda. But he just runs away. MadFrog just runs away. He has the aura, obviously, so there's no problem for him. And I don't think that we're going to see another real attempt of the Night Elf player to turn this around. ToXiGRiNTA fought a valiant battle, but at the end of the game, it seems like MadFrog is going to be victorious here. Triple panda is going to be over. He just retreats into the back of the base. Still can rely onto the Black Citadel, of course. Has even a ghoul still in play. Look at just the lumber that he has. 3,500. Shredder, part of the party now too. Up to the top. I mean, there's nothing you can build anymore, and that is game. GG, and well played.